Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. This is the podcast of Carlos Gutierrez, advisor. Today we're gonna have a special time because I'm gonna introduce you my friend Michael Pope. He's a good friend of mine. He came from Australia. He's decided to live full time in Nicaragua, and now he's gonna share with us some very important tips that you have to be aware before to buy a farm in Nicaragua. Where you have to buy, why you should buy it, what kind of thing you should pay attention before to make a decision, where you're going to need to get a lot of stuff, logistic, cost-wise, water, electricity, topography, all the things that you have to know before to make that decision. And Michael Pope actually has a very good experience, over 20 years having a farm back in Australia. And as you know, Australia is not an easy place to deal with. It's very hot. So temperature-wise, the tropical weather of Nicaragua, he told me, is pretty much similar sometimes, but even better. So stay tuned, listen to this podcast because I'm very sure you're going to find a lot of good material for you to make a good decision. I know you have experience with having a farm back in Australia, but when somebody is, let's say, United States, Canada, Central America, and say, Carlos, I want to go and buy a farm in Nicaragua, what do you expect when you make that decision? What can you expect about that?
Look, the farms here, because Nicaragua is a developing nation, the farms here haven't had many chemicals put on them. And they haven't had much fertilizer, which people go, oh, that's not a good thing, or is that a bad thing? That's actually a very good thing. Because if you want to live a more sustaining, more minimalist life where you're supporting yourself with food and you're supporting your environment and you're supporting the earth, you don't want a lot of chemicals or modern-day fertilizers on the soil.
Yeah.
So Nicaragua offers a huge advantage to people to actually live a more pure life and more self-sustaining life. And then also there's a lot of niche markets that trees grow in this climate to make money. Like you can get 2 manzanas and plant, and if you have water, you can plant it to bananas and you can make some sort of money. You can plant it to cashew trees and make some sort of money. You can plant it to moringa, which is one of the modern trends coming through. You can collect the seeds and make oil, which is worth a huge amount of money for makeup. It has omega-3 and also the leaves are very good for insulation. It's a superfood. Or you can grow neem trees for wood. They're fast growing, and also neem leaves for neem leaves for antibiotic, antibacterial. They're also repellent for mosquitoes. So there's a lot of things that you can do. And because the land is reasonably cheap here, and also the land is reasonably unadulterated with fertilizers and chemicals, you can actually start to grow more things organic, which growing organic, you're actually putting healthy things back into your diet. And just to give you a little bit of idea about organic farming in Nicaragua, there's a huge opportunity here because of the things haven't been adulterated with fertilizer, but also regenerating. In other words, taking the carbon from the tree and putting the carbon back in the soil. You create a cycle loop which feeds life into the soil.
Well, especially now, things all over the world has changed so much.
Yes.
And I can tell from my own experience, when people go to internet or they send me a message, Carlos, I'm kind of ready. I don't need to work in the office anymore. I can do it from distance. I can work in my farm. And actually, distance is always the key because, where you are is actually 8 minutes, 10 minutes from downtown of Granada.
Yeah.
Perfect. You have supermarket, hospital, schools if you have a kid. And you can tell you have a family here in Nicaragua. So basically, you put all together very smartly. You're thinking about, location-wise. And obviously, you have water here, a good water of source. And you have a well, actually.
Yes.
And so you have lemon, moringa, things like really makes the place value on that. And that's when your money is really start making money.
Yes.
Because the way you found the land and is the way the land can be allowed to be improved. Obviously, the distance, we're going to help you with it. It's another way to increase the money, definitely. Obviously, money doesn't come back right away, but you were thinking about, okay, where is this farm located? What is actually the type of crops that I can have? Or if it's a cattle farm, what's the prices or those kind of things. River, water, electricity, those things make the place more valuable.
Yeah.
So in little long term short, what will be in the end your suggestions when you're ready to buy a farm in Nicaragua? One of the biggest deals you deal with was what? Title, distance, water, what it was. You have to pay more attention to it.
Yeah, look, for me, this is my little personal thing on it, but there's two elements that if you're retiring or you're moving to another country, there's two things that you really need to take control of. One is consumption, how much money you're consuming,
Yes.
and how much production, how much money you're producing from an income. Now, if you cut down on your consumption, it means you do not have to bring as much money in. So if you buy some land and it doesn't cost you much money and you build a house that's just for you, suited for you, for your family, whether that's big or small, but as small as you possibly can, and as simple as you possibly can, but comfortable, and then you go solar, or you cut down on your energy requirements, and you cut down on your water requirements, then you're taking care of a big aspect. It's your consumption side of things. So you bring your consumption right down, and people say, well, that's great, but then you don't have to have as much money coming in. And that's when you just said a minute ago, if you're working on the internet and you're making money or you have a pension offshore somewhere, then if you're not consuming a lot, that production that you have that's already there, it will be actually supporting you. And then you probably get the most important things in life that you need to get, is you need to find peace.
Yes.
And you need to find harmony. And you need to spend time with your family. So those things are the most important elements that you can actually get by buying a bit of space around you and taking all your consumption into order. So work out, look, not the next car, not the next area, not the next thing. It's okay to have those things. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. If you can afford them, buy them. Great. Good luck to you. But if you're going to live a peaceful life where you do not have to go out, don't have to get in the 9 to 5, do not have to be working for the man, do not have to be going crazy, then consumption is just as important as production.
Definitely.
So that is where you can really, really change your life in Nicaragua.
Well, guys, definitely, Michael touched many topics that definitely we can increase more in other episodes, which is, quality of life.
Yes.
And that's something Nicaragua can definitely provide cost-wise.
Yes.
So we're going to continue talking about that and see what the next section is going to be about. And definitely I want you to see together what is this farm looks like. So you're going to be very impressed. How do you find this place and why you love it so much?
Yeah, look, the thing is very close to Grenada, this farm, so I wanted something that wasn't too far away from civilization, which this particular farm isn't. And then it has fantastic water. And it has a fantastic view of Mombacho.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean,
Yeah.
That's definitely the biggest
Yeah.
key. When you arrived to this place, I was driving through from Granada to here, it was not that far. And, obviously the road is still, it's a mix. You have the experience of off-road, but you have the experience coming from the city. But that view catch your eyes right away.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of trees here. What kind of trees do we have here?
Tahitian lime tree, or locally they're just called lemones, which is just that's what they call lemon trees, but they are Tahitian limes. I have bananas, platano. There is some avocado trees as well, some orange trees, some dragon fruit, something that does grow really well here. And to tell you the truth, it hasn't been all clear sailing because in life generally, I just go hell for water and plant everything and see what works. And then what doesn't work dies. And then what does work works. So I planted a lot of avocado trees here. And to tell you the truth, this particular spot in Nicaragua, there are other spots around that in the hills and that they grow avocados beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
But this particular spot, the soil tends to crack a little bit in the dry season.
Oh.
And pulls the roots away from avocados. Mangoes love that. Dragon fruit love it. Cashews love that. They can deal with the dry season, the wet season, the dry season, the wet season. But avocados don't like it.
Oh.
So unless you have a lot of water, or you're up in the hills in a different soil that doesn't crack, I wouldn't suggest you grow avocados. But I planted a lot of avocados and I learned the hard way. So that's another little bit of advice. This particular farm, you grow what you can grow, really. You grow what grows on your area. So always ask the neighbours. So I grew a series of things. But something that would grow here, and I planted a lot of them, is dragon fruit, pitaya. It's a fantastic fruit.
Yeah, it's the red one. Well, dragon fruit or pitaya, it's a very popular fruit in Nicaragua. You can find it in any market. And like what Michael said, most of our farmers, they don't use a lot of money for chemicals.
No.
So basically over 60-70% of cases, you're going to definitely find organic.
Yes.
And you can tell when we walk through this farm, you can see all these beautiful trees of lemon. And lemon is also getting very popular, and it's not that cheap anymore.
No.
So you can make some money. Plus, the way you distribute everything looks very organized. And the shape of the farm is kind of a lawn and a square.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And you fence everything here.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
And also I can tell you have a beautiful home here. This looks like a colonial mix. What can you tell about this house?
Because I'm building colonial homes in Grenada, I took the same design. I look for passive solar walls. So try to build walls so no heat hits the walls. The walls don't get heated up, and then they take forever to cool down. So you're not radiating heat into your house. Try to make the ceiling as high as possible and create ventilation on all the walls. So any hot air that you could generate in the house goes up and out. So circulation, ventilation, solar passive walls, they're all colonial concepts. They're all colonial design. Outdoor areas, which we're sitting on now, so you can create space for yourself outside, so you're connecting the house with the outdoors. All those things are very, very important, and that's what I've incorporated into this house.
How many bedrooms, bathrooms, and size-wise it's the house about?
The house is around about 150 square meters and has 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, but it's more open plan. There's a lot of one big open plan house with basically views of the volcano, which is a screened-in porch. The lower part of it is glass, and the higher part, which we'll see in a minute, is mosquito net. So we spend most of the time sitting there staring at Mombacho with a cup of coffee or a cold juice. And depending on Nicaraguan rum is fantastic. Depends on whether you like rum. You can put a little bit of rum inside your juice.
Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. It was very fun and very, very important information that my friend Michael Pope shared with us, because I know so many questions before to make a decision, like buy a property in another country. And obviously, Michael went through the same process like you're going to have, which is where to go, how can I buy, how much money, cost-wise, and a lot of things that you need to be aware before to make that decision. So guys, I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and also follow me in the next podcast, which is going to be very interesting. Ciao.